This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, good night, Rabbi. We're now going to learn about Makas Barad. On Wednesday we learned about the first 6 Makos, and now we're going to learn about the Malbim's explanation for the Makkah of Barad. And as magnificent as the first 5 have been, this one is really out of this world. The Makkah is introduced with the idea that the Rebbe is going to send this Kol Magefosai Libacha. And Hashem says that really I could have wiped you guys out earlier. During the Makkah of Dever, once I went after the Behemoths, I could have knocked you guys out also. You guys could have dropped dead by Dever as well. However, the reason I didn't do that is because this introduces the third set. The first set was to teach what? Bavor Teda Ki Ani Hashem. The second set was Bavor Teda Ki Ani Hashem Kava Aretz. And the third set is what? Bavor Teda Ki Ein Kamoini B'chol Aretz. The third set of Makos, the Be'achav, is to teach. To teach what? God's unparalleled, unmatched, unbridled, uncontested power. That's the third set of Makos, Be'achav. Okay? And that is why Hashem let Paro survive. Bavor Zois Hematicha Bavor Harois Chas Koichi. Okay. So Hashem says like this, look at number 43. Hineni mamtir ka'es machar barad kaved ma'i. This is the first time where Moshe gives an exact time, precise time. Hineni mamtir ka'es machar. This time tomorrow. So Rashi points out, this time tomorrow means, says Rashi, ka'es hazois machar sarat loy srita b'kaisel. He made a scratch in the wall. Lamachar tomorrow kishategia cham alakan. When the sun reaches this point, Yered Barad, the Barad will fall. So now this time Moshe doesn't just say Machar or Boiker. Moshe says, this time tomorrow, Pinklach, exactly this time, the Barad will fall. So the Malbim explains that you could just imagine that all those Egyptian Chevra, Mohammed, Abdullah, all the Chalarias over there, they were sitting there at the sundial. That Makkah better come, Pinklach, at the time that you said. Now let's look at the language of the pasuk. Look at number 45. Vayomer Hashem el Moshe, Neteas yadcha al hashamayim, v'hivarad b'chol eretz Mitzrayim, al ha'adam v'al ha'behema v'al kol esav hasadeh v'eretz Mitzrayim. That's right. We asked Wednesday, why does it repeat Eretz Mitzrayim 2 times?
Emphasize only in Egypt.
We got the first. If it says Mitzrayim the first time, we understand it didn't rain in Alaska, right?
It didn't not in Goshen either.
And then it says, "Vayein Moshe es matel hashamayim, v'Hashem nasan koilos," the thunder, ubarad the hail, v'tihalach eish arza, the lightning. Well, that's not the usual way that it falls. Usually lightning comes first, then thunder, and then the rain. And then look in pasuk Chavdad, Vayhi Barad, the Eish Mislakachas B'soich HaBarad. And then in pasuk Chavhei, Vayach HaBarad B'chol Eretz Mitzrayim, Is Kol Asher B'Asadeh Mei Adam V'Yad Behema, V'Is Kol Esav Asadeh Hika HaBarad. Well, it just said that already. It said Vayach HaBarad in the beginning of the pasuk. Why does it then say Hika HaBarad? Okay, so the Malbim starts off like this. That they were warned. If you could please pass me a Chumash. They were warned that Hashem said, let everybody gather your livestock and your cattle indoors because I'm attacking, right? Hashem gave advance warning. Gather, right? The pasuk says in Parak Tes, pasuk Yud Zayin. If you have a Chumash in front of you, the pasuk says, Oidcha mistoylel ba'ami l'vilti shalcham, v'ato shalach ha'ez es miknecha v'es kol asher l'cha b'asadeh kol ha'adam v'abhem ha'shemaz b'asadeh, anything that's found in the field, v'yard aleim ha'barad v'mesu. They're going to die. So it says those who feared God brought everything inside, and those who didn't fear God left everything outside. So Hashem then says to Moshe, stretch out your hands to the heavens. What happened? The Barad hit Eis Kol Asher B'Asadeh Mei Adam V'Yad Behema. It doesn't say it killed the Adam and the Behema. Hashem warned that any Adam and Behema that's in the field is going to die. It doesn't say that happened. And then it says Kol Esav Asadeh Hika HaBarad Yes, kol ha'etz shiber. So what's happening over here? So says the Malbim in number 46 that anybody who did not listen to Hashem and gather their livestock inside, the decree went out that the Barad will fall on the Adam and the Behemoth in the field. Says the Malbim, there were two Barads. Originally there was only supposed to be one Barad. The Barad was supposed to be only for the herbage, for the grass, because that you can't bring indoors. You can't bring your plants indoors. So therefore there was originally only supposed to be one Barad. But then when they didn't listen and they left the Adam and the Behemoth outdoors, Hashem sent one against the Behemoth and the Adam, B'chol Eretz Mitzrayim, and then Kol Esav HaSodeh B'Eretz Mitzrayim. That's why it says B'Eretz Mitzrayim 2 times, because there were actually 2 Barads. Okay? Now look in the Malbim on Pasuk Chav Gimel. An amazing thing. Says the Malbim, Hine Moshe Amar Hineni Mamtir Ka'es Machar. Moshe said, I'm going to bring Barad this time tomorrow. V'sarat Srita ala Kaisal. He made a scratch in the wall. He said, this time tomorrow the Barad will start. And the Mitzvahs were very exacting with him. That Moshe should not even be off by one moment, otherwise he's a badai, he's a liar. Says the Malbim, everybody knows that when it rains, and it thunders, and it lightnings, what does man experience first? Lightning. Why does a person see the lightning first? Because light travels very quickly. 186,000 miles per second. Sound also travels pretty fast, but not as fast. Between 500 and 1,000 feet.
720 miles an hour.
What?
720 miles an hour.
So like what, between 500, 720?
1,000 feet per second.
Almost 1,000 feet per second. Yeah? And then the rain travels a little bit slower. So if you're going to hear, if it's going to thunder, lightning, and rain, first you're going to see the lightning, then you're going to hear the thunder, then you're going to feel wet. In actuality, what happens first? First the thunder happens. That produces lightning, and then the rain comes down. But in actuality, the thunder happens before the lightning, even though you don't see the lightning till after the thunder. If the Egyptians are going to see lightning at that second, and they're not going to hear the thunder until a few moments later, and they're not going to feel the rain until a few moments after that, they say, "But you're a liar! You said this time, and look, you're off by a few milliseconds. Our atomic clocks show you're off." So therefore Hashem had to make a special mace, that Hashem had to make sound travel at the speed of light, and rain travel at the speed of light, so that all 3 elements of the Makkah should be noticed and perceived simultaneously. So it says the Malbim, he says everybody knows from the time that Barad falls until it reaches the ground, it takes a few moments, and likewise for the sound to travel until it reaches down, it also takes time. But for lightning is seen immediately, because the sense of sight does not require time. That is why lightning is always seen before the thunder is heard, even though thunder comes first. So therefore, says the Malbim, when that moment came, that Moshe scratched a scratch in the wall, and the thunder was not heard until later, and the bar would not be filled, they're going to say Moshe is a liar. There was a great miracle here. Miraculously, sound traveled at the speed of light, and rain traveled at the speed of light. So all 3 things were perceived simultaneously. And this was a complete manipulation of the natural process of thunder and rain. So in this case,
Rain traveling at the speed of light, I mean, it probably would
kill them.
Number 1, but 2, I think it would burn up in the atmosphere.
No, that we could get around. That Hashem knows how to get around that problem.
But all the laws of physics.
Yeah, right.
But regarding killing them, we'll see it did kill them. That's why they died.
It says Shiur.
There were two Barads. We'll see. So says the Malbim. Now in this case, look back in Pasuk Chaf Chaf Gimel. Vayed Moshe es Mateu. Moshe stretched out his hand. Yeah? Moshe stretched out his hand. And what happened? Vashem Nosan Koilos. First they heard the thunder. Why first the thunder? Because if it's miraculous going to happen at the same time, then the thunder is going to be perceived first, because the thunder happens before lightning happens. That's why the thunder came, and then the rain, and then the lightning. Okay, he says, the lightning was seen before the thunder, normally, but here, where it traveled so quickly, then the rain and the thunder was perceived before the lightning. But it's not. That's why it says Vashem Nosan. Look in Pasuk Chav Gimel. It doesn't say Vashem Himtir. It says Vashem Nosan. Why does it say Vashem Nosan? Because Himtir implies natural rain, but this was not natural. This was especially designed by God. It doesn't say Hashem Himtir. It wasn't B'derech HaMatar HaNivi. But, one second. But this was a miraculous thing, that the Kailos and the Barad should come, and then should come the Barak. Now, says the Malbim, this miracle of the simultaneous travel of the thunder and the rain and the lightning was only needed the first moment. Because their only time it would be, Moshe, it didn't start exactly when you said. But once the first moment passed, you didn't need this nace anymore. It wasn't needed. You don't need it all to travel at the same time. Then it could go back to the regular process. That's why after it says, Vashem Nosan, Vayamter Hashem Barad. After that miracle was created, and it's not needed anymore, so now it could rain like it always rains. Vayamter Hashem Barad. So this miracle was of that it was not possible otherwise that the thunder and the rain would reach at the same time. But after a few moments passed, that's why it says Vayamter Hashem Barad. Let's see Pasuk Chav Dalad. Now,
Barad means
hail.
Hail meaning what? Water?
Yeah, frozen water.
Frozen water.
Frozen water. Yeah. So let's see Pasuk Chav Dalad. Vayihi Barad. Now listen to this. Even though from the time the rain and the hail started, naturally it would take zman, it would take time. So really you would think the fire would come first because it travels faster. But in this case, the fire and the hail were caught up together in the Barad, and it came simultaneously. In other words, there still was a certain degree of a miraculous nature to this hail, that even though fire always travels faster than the water, in this case they traveled simultaneously. Pasuk Chaf Hei. Look in Pasuk Chaf Hei. Says the Malbim, it says Vayacha Barad b'charetz Mitzrayim is kasher basada, and then it says ve'ez kol esav hasada hika habarad. What do you mean? We just said is kol asher basada. Why does it say again ve'ez kol esav hasada, ve'ez kol eitz hasada? Says the Malbim, there were two barads. The barad, which was the barad of the first moment, the miraculous barad that traveled at the speed of light, and then there was all the barad that happened afterwards. Kedar chateva. Now, if it would have just been the natural barad, then human beings would have been spared, because as soon as they see it raining, they could go inside. So if it was only the second kind of barad, nothing would have broke, right? Nothing would have been destroyed. Your barad comes down, okay, so I get a little wet, then I go inside. But the first barad that travels at the speed of light, there's no warning. The moment it comes down, everyone who it hits is dead. So therefore the pasuk says, as soon as the first lightning was seen, which was the simon of the thunder and the rain, then if it would have been natural, everyone could have went to hide in the caves and in the tents. And it's not so dangerous. But that first barad that flew at the speed of light, rain, a drop, if you ever threw a penny down the Empire State Building, you would know that if that penny hits the cement, you're making a big hole. If it hits the car is gone. It hits a person, the person's dead. Because it builds up so much momentum that it's like being hit by an anvil, by a ton of bricks. So a drop of water traveling at the speed of light would shoot right through the person's head. It would kill somebody. So whoever was in the field at the moment that the barad start, he says, it was thrown with such great force. It's like a bullet coming out of a gun. Even the smallest bullet. That's why it says.
According to the Malbim, why wouldn't the Torah tell us that happened?
Let's see.
It says we have called eitz hasad.
Let's see.
That's the result of the barad.
No. Let's see. The barad killed in Eretz Mitzrayim everything. That was the first barad. Right? The first barad knocked off everybody.
That was only those who were outside?
Those were the people outside. And afterwards, the natural barad, that's the second barad.
What was left after the first barad?
Well, the humans were dead.
No,
the animals were dead.
If the first barad was at the speed of light, and it's so damaging, it would have broken the trees too. So what does it have to
the grass, the earth, everything. Everything. The Eitz HaSodeh.
Is that redundant?
No, whatever was not hit, whatever was protected, whatever was under the animals, whatever was under the human beings. So now you have a second barad that was hit by the natural rain. Okay. Look in 47. Vayishlach Paroi, Vayikra l'Moshe li'Aaron, Vayomer aleim, Chatasi apam. So this time I sinned. Hashem HaTzadik, Va'ani va'ami Hashem. Hashem is the righteous one. Why Davka by the Makkah of Barad does Paroi acknowledge Hashem is the Tzaddik, and me and my cohorts, we're all wicked? Malbim says very pashut. Until now, Paro says, we're not Rishayim. We don't want to let the Jews go. Hashem wants the Jews to go. We don't want to let them go. They're our workforce. We want to keep them. This is a monetary negotiation. You want us to let them go? We don't want it. We're not Rishayim. We just want our money. It doesn't make us wicked. It makes us obstinate. But this Makkah is the only time Hashem ever warned them, bring all the human beings inside, otherwise they're going to die, and if you bring them inside, they're going to survive. So now Paro's obstinacy was getting in the way of innocent lives. He had a way to save them, and he didn't take advantage. So Paro says like this, until now, it's not that we're Rishayim, but now, where we're given the opportunity to save our population, to save our citizens, and I don't take advantage of the opportunity, so now this shows our rishus and Hashem's tzidkos.
Didn't many die also by the month of Over? Many died.
Yeah, many died, but it doesn't show Paro's a Rasha. They weren't warned to go indoors, but this time they were specifically warned. Look, everyone get inside. Whoever's outside is going to die, and whoever's inside is going to be saved. And they didn't take advantage, so now Paro acknowledges Hashem HaTzadik, Bani Vami Harisham.
Also loss of life.
But they weren't warned. They weren't warned. But this time Hashem warned them. He says, what?
This time is under Paro's control.
Yeah, he was given an opportunity to protect his citizens, and he didn't take advantage. Okay.
Like the president.
Okay. Now look at number 49. Could we turn off the heat?
It's not on.
No? Yeah? Look at number 49. Fiata v'avodecha. You and your servants. Yadati, I know, ki terem tiroon mifnei Hashem aleichem. You do not yet fear Hashem. V'hapishta v'hasa'ira nukasa. The flax and the barley were hit. Ki hasa'ira aviv. Because the barley was still... the barley was ripened. V'hapishta gival, and the linen was in its stalk. But v'hachita v'hakusemes, the wheat and the spelt loinuku, they were not hit. Because they were late to bloom. What in the world is going on over here? Well, the Torah is giving us, a report, was this the allergy report for Egypt, about which crops were in season, the pollen count, the pishta, the sa'ira were hit, the chita and the kusemis were not hit. Okay, so Rabbi said, I remember on Monday we gave a shiur on this from the Marash Dam in Shuva Gimel. But Pasha Pshat, why is the Torah reporting to us about the crops in Egypt? Says the Malbim, what is Yiras Hashem? Yiras Hashem is to be afraid that Hashem could punish you. But a person will only have Yiras Hashem if he has what to lose. In other words, like this. If a person has money, and he has a family, and he's afraid of losing it, he could have Yiras Hashem. But, if he has no money, why would he be afraid that Hashem could take away his money if he has no money? So says Moshe Rabbeinu, you Paro, I know why you don't have Yiras Hashem. You know why? Because you already lost all of your crops. Your linen, your flax, your barley was already smitten. So you don't fear God because you have nothing to lose now. But wait a second, Paro. You should know the wheat and the spelt didn't grow yet. You still stand to lose that, so you better watch out. That's how the Malbim learns the Psukim. In other words, the Psukim are explaining why Paroi did not fear God anymore, because he had nothing to lose. And Moshe is saying, but watch out. This is all part of Moshe's warning to Paroi. It's not a pollen count report. It's not a weather report. It's not a crop report. It's saying like this. Moshe says about, I know why you don't fear God. You don't fear God because you have nothing to lose anymore. But you still do, Moshe says.
But there was major loss of life in the world, so they didn't fear that.
Exactly. That's exactly why there's nothing to fear anymore. Once they're basically dead.
But those who survive, they have to go again. And those they fear for themselves, not for the dead ones. They're not afraid to be killed.
Well, so far, none of the Mitzvah, I don't know if they've lost their lives. We don't find the people. So now, but we don't find that. But they were warned. So Paro says, next time I'll listen to the warning. Next time. But Moshe is saying you should fear God. Why? Because you do stand to lose financially. Okay, ready for this?
What does Kiafilos mean?
They were late to bloom. They were late. They didn't. In other words, if they would have ripened earlier, they would have had a hard stem. They would have cracked. But since they were still soft, so they blew with the wind. Yeah. Now listen to this. This is the most unbelievable thing. Look in 51. Ready? We're heading to the end here. Vayetze Moshe miyim parei Shiur, vayifres kapav al Hashem, vayachtelu hakolos v'habarad umatar le'nitach arza. The sound stopped. The hail stopped. The rain didn't fall. Paroi saw. The rain stopped. And the hail and the thunder, and he continued to sin, and he hardened his heart. Vayechezak leiv Paroi, v'lo shilach es bnei Yisrael kasher dibar Hashem b'yad Moshe. Why? Because it stopped did he harden his heart. Here you have Moshe Rabbeinu says, exactly this moment it's going to start. And then Parshas says, I can't take it anymore. And it stops, and then he hardens his heart. What about the fact that it stopped made Paro harden his heart? You would think if it's such under the control of Moshe Rabbeinu, Moshe Rabbeinu has the rain down like that. Why would that make Paro harden his heart?
Because they didn't stop it the way he started. It didn't say Vayihi Ka'es Hazeh that it's going to stop. When he saw Ka'es Hazeh, Mamish, the flow. But it's going to stop, so he just got lucky. So maybe it's really not called Hashem.
Okay, good. You're barking up a good tree. But not the late ripening. Yeah. So, says the Malbim, we're going to look at the order that Moshe said it's going to stop in. He said, Vayachtelu hakoros, right? It says like this. Look back at number 47. Efroi says, Kapi el Hashem. HaKolos Yachtalun, first the thunder's going to stop. And then the Barad won't fall. And did that happen? Yeah. Vayachtelu, look in 51. Vayachtelu HaKolos, the thunder stopped. And then the hail. But that's, even though it stopped the way Moshe said, Paro didn't see it stop the way Moshe said. The way Paro saw it is Vayar Paroi Kichadal Hamatar Vehabarad Vehakolos. Moshe promised it's going to go what? Kailos, and then Barad. And it did happen, Kailos and then Barad. But that's not how Paro saw it. So you say, 1 second. If Moshe said that's going to happen, and that's how it happened, why would Paro see it different than it happened? You need to know earth science. Listen to this one. Look in the Malbim on the 4th line of 52. Hine Moshe Yad, Moshe promised, Leparoi. HaKoilos Yachdalan, the sounds will stop, V'habarad lo Ya'od. Hainu Shetchila Yafsiku HaKoilos, first the thunder will stop, and then the hail, and then the rain. And you could imagine the Mitzrim, all their scientists were there with their binoculars, ready to exactly, okay, the thunder, and then the lightning. But Hashem wanted to trick them. So what did he do? Hashem, he wanted to trick the Mitzrayim that the rain and the hail will stop before the thunder stops. And they're going to say, Moshe, you're a liar. But how is Hashem going to trick them and not fulfill what Moshe said? I mean, Moshe said, the Kailos Yachdalan. So how are we going to be able to trick the Mitzrayim and yet still make Moshe a truthful person? So listen to what he did. He says, when thunder comes from the clouds, right? It takes time for it to travel. How fast?
Thunder, 720 miles an hour.
720 miles an hour. How fast does rain travel?
Depends on the wind that's accompanying.
Regular, right, without any external climate conditions. So you'll tell me next time, okay? I'm holding you to it. I want to know how fast rain travels.
Okay.
You'll tell me. Listen carefully. When the thunder stopped and then the rain stopped. So listen, if thunder stops and then rain stops, which one are you going to experience the stopping of first?
Rain. But that's right close to you. The thunder is far away. The rain is right on top of you.
You're going to experience the what?
Rain. No, you're going to feel the rain stop. The rain is on.
No, if the thunder stops.
Thunderstorm, you get rain.
No, you're going to experience the thunder stopping before the rain, because if the rain stopped, but the rain that already fell before that is still on the way. No?
Well, you busy with rain, not with thunder. You're busy with the umbrella. If you're raining.
No. If the thunder stopped, then it stops immediately, right?
No, but you could.
But then there's still rain that came.
Far away, it's still traveling.
The rain that fell before the thunder stopped hasn't even reached you yet. So therefore, you're going to experience the stop of the thunder before the stop of the rain. But Hashem made a miracle. What does the pasuk say? Umatar lo'nitach arza. The rain is suspended in midair. So they experienced the stop of the rain before the stop of the thunder. And hey, Moshe, what's going on? You told me the thunder is going to stop and then the rain's going to stop. So Hashem, but really what happened? First the thunder stopped and then the rain stopped. That's what happened, like Moshe said. But Hashem made another miracle that the rain was suspended in mid-air so that they should experience the stop of the rain before the stop of the thunder. And they said, Moshe, you're a liar. Come on here. You have this down or you don't have it down. He says, Really, what should have happened was they should experience the stopping of the thunder and then the south rain. But Hashem wanted to trick Paroi. So what did he do? Hashem suspended the rain so that the thunder stopped, but they didn't experience the stop of the thunder until after. In other words, the thunder stopped first, and then the rain stopped. But they experienced the stop of the rain before the stop of the thunder. Why? Because Hashem suspended the rain in mid-air. Nishma lamata hakol ha'achrein acharei shekvar chodal habar v'amata shem lo higel lamata. So Rabbi said, this is how the Malbim explains the Makkah of Barad. Stay tuned for Arba Choshech Makas B'Chayros. The next time, Mitzvah Hashem, we meet.
Rabbi.
And I wish you all a good Shabbat.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.